We're edging ever close to the weekend. The only man standing between us and the weekend is Derrick Lynch. He's like, I want to get to the weekend quicker than anybody. No, here to chat about sport and plenty of it to chat about, Derrick. And we'll start with local soccer. The great rivalry in recent years has been Avenue versus Newmarket Celtic, and rears its head, thankfully, for local soccer lovers once again this weekend.
Yeah, it certainly does. Promises to be a cracking game at Páirc tomorrow evening. I suppose two teams that everybody was hoping would get to the final. A repeat of the one from 2 years ago that went to penalties, which Avenue won. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'll be on to correction on this, but it could be their fifth meeting, I think, since around 2020 or thereabouts in a final. Obviously last year Newmarket beaten Tulla, and I think there was a Lifford were thrown in there as well one of the seasons. So yeah, it's going to be an absolute belter. They had a ding-dong battle throughout the league campaign, Newmarket ultimately shading that. They played twice in the league, 0-0 in the first game, and Newmarket won the other one 1-0. So
okay, so tight stuff. Yeah,
it'll tell you the veritable kick of a ball in this one, and I suppose it being the cup final, it being that big showpiece, the last chance I suppose for either to enjoy the victory over their rivals, shall we say, to come as well. So it should be a belter.
And these games can draw good crowds, but also they can be feisty atmospheres, which, you know, if you're a fan of soccer, it kind of adds to it, doesn't it?
Oh, of course it does, yeah.
A heated rivalry.
Yeah, there's been those couple of incidents down the years, and I suppose being in Frankeely Park, it's that bit more confined maybe perhaps than it might be in either Roslevin or McDonough Park when they meet in the league. But yeah, it certainly will be a case where the sidelines will be involved, those behind the barriers, and I suppose if you had good hips you'd jump them handy enough if you needed to on the day as well. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a big atmosphere, and hopefully a big crowd as well, because as we say, it's the last big day of the local soccer season. It has probably gone on a bit longer maybe than usual, so yeah, it should be a good one.
Not to ask you to call it, because I presume tough one to call, as you've highlighted. These games are usually you can't, barely a cigarette paper would separate them.
Yeah, I suppose if you're going on league form, maybe Newmarket were a little bit more consistent, but again,
but it's a cup competition.
Correct, yeah. I wasn't going to throw out the old cliche of it being its own thing, but I suppose it is in a lot of ways. So Newmarket as defending champions edged that game against Tulla last year. Owen Hayes scored the winner in the 83rd minute, I think it was, and he's back involved again this season, so there's obviously another want to go there. I suppose Avenue have lost a couple of players this season, and I think they're down one or two through injury as well, so that could all tell on the day. But this one does go to obviously extra time, spot kicks and the whole lot. It happened the last time they met in the cup final. Don't rule out it happening again.
Okay, should be a very, very entertaining game regardless. Let's move on. Also happening tomorrow is the All-Ireland Senior Camogie Championship meeting of Clare and Limerick across the road from us here. Zimmer, Biomet, Páirc, Chíosóg, and should Eugene Foodie's side win, that'll help them take a significant advancement towards a spot in the quarterfinals once again.
Yeah, it probably should kind of put them all but in it, really, to be honest, because with 6 points and 3 head-to-heads in their favour, if they do happen to beat Limerick, I think my maths wouldn't be hectic on this now, but I think it should all but put them into the quarter-final, which would be a fantastic achievement, because next up for them after that is a trip to Nolan Park to play Kilkenny, and that can be a free shot in a lot of ways. The top 2 teams go through to the quarter-final. The standings only determine who you'll meet from the other side. So you have your big 4, as we'll call them. Cork, Galway, Waterford and Tipperary are in Group 1. They start their campaign this weekend. They're all through to the knockout stages anyway. The top 2 teams in that group go to the semi-finals. The 3 and 4 play in a quarter-final, and then it's crossover from there. So one in Clare's group will play 4 and so on. So that'll be the only way that it'll determine it in any way, shape or form from a Clare perspective. So it's a massive opportunity. The fitness of Lorna McNamara or otherwise, I think, will play a key part in this. If she has recovered from that knock she took last week, not sure if that's the case. So, but look, there will be other players to step up. I've no doubt Anya Loughlin will come into the reckoning there. Maeve Millay did really well when she came on the field the last day. She'll certainly be in line to start. And if Roisin Begley's in the form she was in the inside line the last day, and having Claire and Abby and those in the half back lines and at midfield, I think there's a real good combination happening there as well, particularly Roisin McMahon. I think she's been excellent, real busy kind of a player. Danielle Griffin. So yeah, they're in a good place, Clare, they really are. And as we said, to get to second consecutive quarter final, having not been there before, would be phenomenal. Win tomorrow in the Park, I think, would pretty much achieve that.
Okay, we wish them well in that. Then on Sunday, Clare's lady footballers will be hoping to secure their place in the last 8, the quarterfinals of the All-Ireland Intermediate Championship. They will face Laois at O'Moore Park. That's a 2 o'clock throw-in. And a victory over Wexford on the opening day means they will secure a top spot in the group and a seeded draw if they can overcome Laois.
Yeah, and I suppose this is a real test for the group now. Laois were in last year's final. They're going to O'Moore, which I think is brilliant. Like, we were long enough, I suppose, following ladies football teams and camogie teams to maybe club grounds perhaps for inter-county games, which just doesn't sit right anymore. This game is on in O'Moore Park. It's a brilliant venue, brilliant pitch, brilliant atmosphere. So that's a real positive. And I think for Clare, they're coming in really positive as well, because it would have been hard for them after the league to kind of cut off the disappointment of that. They've played Laois before in that last game in Clarecastle on the 4G that finished ever so dramatically and controversially as well. So they've a good bit of form coming into it, and I think a good bounce. And I think it's good for them as well that they've had just the 1 week since, because it means that feel-good factor now will have carried in through training this week. Getting Fidelma Marnin back on the panel, I think, has been a brilliant move by management, and I credit whoever kind of put out the olive branch there and tried to get her back in, because she's simply brilliant. She's a top-class forward. So yeah, look, a win. I think they're kind of sound enough in getting through anyway after beating Wexford. But yeah, it'll be a massive opportunity. A win and you'll guarantee it, rather than waiting on score difference. If all the 3 teams finish on 2 points, it's a 3-team group, which makes it a bit messy. So you can kill all that by getting your points on Sunday.
Okay, anything else you're going to be touching on Sideline View? Yeah,
no, just a big preview of the Cup final. We'll have our latest club profile series as well, shining a light on the Innes Diamond Hurling Club and a few other bits as well. But if I can, was contacted during the week because 3 boys from Anna National School went down to the Munster Cumann Munster skills competition. Sean Cummins, Oren Heher and Dahi O'Kenny, they secured 2nd spot down there, but Sean was crowned the top scorer overall on that skills competition. So I think it's just a fabulous achievement to have Clare lads on that kind of a platform. And also, if I can, I was down in Lissy Casey last night at the Wild Atlantic Way Primary Schools finals, and first of all, credit to Lissy Casey for the show they put on. They hosted 4 finals yesterday afternoon. The stewards in the car park were absolutely flat out getting cars in and out, and huge community and volunteer effort down there in Páirc Namuintra. And in the Division 1 final, it was Lissy Casey that played our own Kilmurray Brickin boys, and I'll tell you, Lissy Casey's conveyor belt is flying. They had some absolutely brilliant players. There was a young Marnin fella, I think his roots in Kilkee, but they've now moved to Lissy Casey. He got the player of the match, a beautiful player, beautiful kicker of the ball, really good final. So just credit to everybody that was involved down there in running off those competitions. And they even had a pre-match parade for all the teams marching behind the banner in front of their friends and parents and families.
That's the occasion.
It was class. It was class. So just to give a serious kudos to everybody involved in that.
Okay, brilliant stuff, Derek. Thank you very much. Make sure you check out Sideline View this evening, and we'll chat again to Derek on Monday.